Hi, my name is Julie Pasqual, but my name is also Jamuna Jaya Devi Dasi. I often don't use my spiritually initiated name, but for this set of videos, I am going to because of one of the parts of my name, and that is Devi. Because these next 4 videos are going to be about the Devi, the divine goddess. But before I go into anything else, let me always begin with what traditionally is given in a yoga philosophy class, and it's something called the Mangalacharyam. The word Mangala means auspiciousness, and it's really to invoke the proper mood of the teacher and of the listener. So I'll give you some rough things to think about in English, and I will say it in Sanskrit. So if you're able, while you're watching this, sit nice and tall, close your eyes, bring your palms together, and think of a teacher that, as this mantra says, lit the lamp of knowledge within you. Hold that teacher in your heart as I say this in Sanskrit. Om Jnana Timrandit Shat Janan Janan Shalakaya Takshurami Tamena Tasmai Shri Gurude Namaha. This next mantra is a way for us to, in a way, give thanks to the people that are in our lives that walk this path with us. There's something called the Vanchakalpa. They're wish-fulfilling trees. And in this little mantra, it's that the people that are in our lives that help us walk us towards our spiritual path are really like these wish-fulfilling trees. So holding people like that in your heart, as I say, Vanchakalpa Charubacha Kripa Sindhuebacha Patitanam Pavanavyo Vaishnaveno Namo Namaha. This next mantra is called the Pancha. It means 5, Tattva means truth. And this is basically the name of 5 great souls that lived about 500 years ago in West Bengal, India. And because of what they did, because at the time, certain teachings of this text that I will reference, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, only certain people were allowed to know them. But because of what they did through the art of kirtan, they burst this knowledge into the streets. And so now, many years later, here we are having knowledge. So thanking them. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda. And finally, this last mantra that is called Maha. The word Maha means great. There's so many moods and explanations of this mantra, and I will go into more of it after this. But one explanation that I just heard from my teacher just the other day, it's a way of saying, let the winds of service carry me away. Carry me away from what? My lower nature of being selfish. And carry me away to where? To our truer nature of wanting to be of service to the divine. And that is expressed through our service through everyone. And I say this one 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you did so, you can open up your eyes. So I introduce myself to you as Julie, which I am, of course, and as Jamuna Jaya Devi Dasi, which is my spiritual initiated name. Let me explain why. So my name, Jamuna, I'm named after the sacred river, the Yamuna River. Jaya, whenever you hear that in Sanskrit, it means like, all glories to. So basically my name means all glories to the sacred river. But it's the second part of my name that I really wanted to introduce. Devi. Probably a lot of you have heard the word Devi, Deva, goddess. So it's not saying that I'm a goddess. No, because it's the next word, Das. Das. Das means the helper of, one that gives service to. So it is my great hope that in this series of very short little videos that I'm doing service to the goddess, service to the divine feminine, who I will be speaking about today as Srimati Radha Rani, aka Radha, Radhe, Radhika, most often called Radha. So who is this Radha Rani? Well, you've already heard one of her names. The Hare in the Hare Krishna mantra is her. She is said to be the embodiment of love. She is said to be Krishna, who is the all supreme, aka God. She is said to be his internal energy, It's called Ladini Shakti. It's said to be Krishna's pleasure potency is her. And what gives more pleasure than love? So she is the very embodiment of love. And so when you go into places where Lord Krishna is, very often she is right beside him. And so if you'll go to a Krishna temple, Krishna has many names: Damodar, Keshava, Mulidhar, one who holds the flute. But they'll always say her name first. Radha Mulidhar, Radha Govinda. Because she, being the energy of love, the energetic of love, because what is love without energy behind it, right? It's like here where I'm speaking right now is Valentine's Day just a few days ago. And people can give cards and stuff like that. And that's nice. But love is a verb. We can think of her as the verb of love, the very embodiment, like love with legs, we can say. So who is this Radharani? Well, let's begin with a birth story about her. So once there was this couple who had no children. And this couple prayed and prayed for a child, but not so they could have a child so that, oh, let this child take care of me when I go old. No. They were in the mood of, we want to give birth to a child who is divinity. Not so we could have divinity help us, but so that we could serve divinity in the role of parents. It's one of these things called rasas, these moods of wanting to connect with the divine. And it's very sweet to want to take care of the divine. And so they prayed and they prayed. And one day their prayer was answered because a beautiful, beautiful child was born to them. Lotus eyes, twinkling smile. Her skin was said to be golden. And if you were ever in India, you'll see fields and fields and fields of mustard seed flower that are golden and yellow. It was said that she was that color. But there was a problem because that little girl was almost too beautiful because there was a witch whose name was Putana. Putana was the most awful kind of witch because she gathered and ate children. And no sooner had Putana seen this beautiful little girl that she snatched her up. And Putana the witch was flying through the sky. No other great men, Brahmanas they were called, and they did not want to see this girl perish. So they said these mantras. And mantras are powerful stuff. And back in those days, mantras were as powerful as weapons themselves because the people saying them were so full of piety, so full of righteousness that their words actually had power. And so all these Brahmanas were praying for this child to be spared. And their prayers were answered because Putana, flying through the sky with little Radha with her, froze. The mantras made her freeze. And so little Radha slipped through her hands and fell softly onto the soft sands of a sacred place called Vrindavan. Well, she fell right into this field of this man who's called Vishabhanu. And he was a farmer, and so he's going through his field with a plow. And then instead of digging up earth, he dug up this little beautiful golden child. He and his wife too had prayed for a child. And when his wife saw this beautiful child, they were stunned. Again, the golden skin, the lotus eyes, the twinkling smile, but there was a problem, but not the witch this time. The problem was that her little eyes would not open. They tried everything. Doctors came. The little eyes would not open. But just then, a couple came to visit beautiful little Radha. It was the head of all the men who took care of the cows. His name was Nanda. And he came with his wife Yashoda. And they came bringing their own child. Go ahead and picture every cute child you've ever seen. Got it? Then multiply it by about not even a billion. See those dimples, see the eyes, and then add this little quality, this little peacock feather in his hair. And his skin, believe it or not, is blue. Think about the color of the sky before it thunders down. And all that makes him even more beautiful. And by now, some of you already know who it is I'm talking about because their son was Krishna. And when little Krishna toddled up in front of little Radha, then, and only then, did she open up her eyes. Because she did not want her eyes to behold anything until she had beheld the love of her life, Krishna. And so begins this love story that is beyond the pale. The love between Radha and Krishna, as I will get to, actually puts Krishna in a bad position. Krishna, the all-attractive God, she loves him so much that he doesn't even know how to replay it. And so let's look at some of the qualities of Radharani. So I've already said that she is beautiful. There are texts that say, let me read directly from the text, the beauty of Srimad Radharani's eyes forcibly devours the beauty of newly grown blue lotus flowers. If you think about a flower, her eyes, more beautiful than that. And the beauty of her face surpasses an entire forest of lotuses. Radha's bodily luster seems to place, and I have a friend whose name is Gail who loves this description, the luster of her body places gold in a painful situation. If you think about all the places where you see gold glittering, isn't it? We say glitters like gold. The luster of her skin makes gold go, oh my God, I'm not even worthy of that. She has said that she makes, we put on ornaments like my earrings, like my ring, to make us look beautiful. But with Radharani, it's the opposite. The ornaments are beautiful because they are on her. And so there's this great text called the Chaitanya Chamrita. And in it, it lists 25 beautiful qualities of this divine goddess. Let me read to you some of them. Number one is she's very sweet. Then it says she's always youthful. Her eyes are restless. I love that one. She smiles brightly. She has beautiful, auspicious lines. And in my next video, I'll talk more about that. She makes Krishna happy with her fragrance. I love that one because I don't always make people happy with my fragrance. So many of the qualities are about her external beauty. But is that really what makes Radha the embodiment of love? Is it even what makes her really, really beautiful, the external features? So we know, you can see someone who is externally very beautiful, but there's something that is not beautiful within. I was in India recently and I see the most beautiful people in the land where Radha and Krishna grew up, this place called Vrindavan. This one particular woman didn't have a single tooth in her head. Her skin was wrinkled, but there was a beauty because where did that beauty come from? It came from where beauty always comes from. It comes from within. So some of her other qualities are that she's expert at all of her duties. She's expert at singing and even at joking because why? Because all of her activities are done out of love. She doesn't make herself look beautiful for her own gratification. She makes herself beautiful because it pleases Krishna, pleases the divine. She doesn't do things because look at me. She does things as an offering. My teacher, His Holiness Danjadhara Swami, always says, to love is to please, and to please is to serve. And we know this, right? If you really love someone, you do, it's like the Quakers say, when you pray, move your feet. When you love, love is action. And so you want to bring your best. And that is why Radharani is the best, because she offers it. She offers from her heart. She takes whatever has, she offers it. And the other thing that makes her so extraordinary, there is no jealousy in Radharani. She's always looking at others and pushing them to the forward. Yes, come forward. You want to relate to the divinity. Let me push you to the forward. Let me not make it about me. There's such a beautiful humility in that. And is there anything more beautiful than humility? And so this is Radharani. And so there is one last characteristic of all the characteristics. Let me read a couple more of the characteristics. She is the most famous of all that come to Krishna. She is very affectionate to elderly people. And I really love that. How often do you see a young, very beautiful person take the time to even say hello to older person? She's very kind to elderly people. She's always gives in, and one might say makes herself subordinate to her friends. Please, you go first. You go first. But it is the last quality of Radharani that I will now speak on. And that is, she always has Krishna under her control. Always has Krishna under her control. And how does she do that? By love. And let us remember that Lord Krishna is the supreme. So one very famous story about her ability to love, about her selflessness to love, concerns one day Radha and Krishna were far away from each other. In many of the stories, they're absolutely separate from each other. But that separateness doesn't make their love die. It actually stokes it. What do we say in modern day language? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And so at one point, Krishna has a horrible headache. And no one can help him. But a doctor comes and looks at Krishna and says, here's what you need. You need the dust from the feet of someone who really loves you. Well, all of Krishna's friends say that should be easy, so they go out and they go, so Krishna has a headache. Oh my goodness, what can we do? What can we do? How can we help? We need the dust from your feet. But now, if you know anything about this culture, feet are the lowest part of someone. To show your feet, the bottom of your feet to someone is even offensive. What to think you're going to take the dirt, the dust from your feet and put it on someone's head? That's what we do. You say, I'm lower than you. You don't take the dust from your feet and put it on Krishna's head. So they said, no, we can't do that. That is not proper. We will go to hell if we do such a thing. No, anything else. But the doctor says, no, I'm sorry, that's the only thing. They go to person to person to person to person. And initially they're anything. But then when they hear what it is, no, we will go to hell if we do such a thing. No. But then they go to Radharani. They go, Krishna has a headache. Oh, how horrible. How is he? What can I do? Well, you're probably not going to want to do this. No one else has. But we need the dust from your feet. The word foot isn't even out of their mouth. She is grabbing the dust from her feet. Here, take it while you're standing there. Hurry, take it. Don't you care if you'll go to hell? Don't you care if it's offensive? I don't care. If it's going to save my beloved Krishna, take it. And so they do. And of course, the minute the dust of her feet touch his head, his eyes open and he is just fine. And so he is under her control with his health. There's another great story, so many great stories, but another great story of how the love of Radharani has Krishna under her control. One day, Radharani was sitting there and Krishna approaches. He had just come from splashing around in the river with his friends, and so he was still kind of wet. Now, Krishna's skin is like the color of the monsoon cloud, like I said, so it's like a dark blue. And because he was wet, when she looked at him, it was like looking at his chest was like looking in a mirror. So she saw the reflection of a girl. But she didn't think it was her reflection. She thought it was another woman. What, Krishna, you come to me and there's another woman literally sitting on your chest? Well, Krishna's like, no, what are you talking about? That's a reflection. Go away. Poor Krishna goes away. He doesn't know what to do. And so he goes to a confidant, a female friend, goes, what should I do? And they tell him, go back and apologize. But he didn't do anything. Go back and apologize. So Krishna goes back. You're right, Radha, you're right. There's another woman. I'm sorry. She says, first you do it, then you deny it, now you're admitting it. Go away. It makes you even worse. Krishna goes back and said, well, that didn't work. What should I do? She says, and her friend goes, just admit it. Admit that you lied. Admit that you tried not to. Just say, but I didn't, and I wasn't lying. Just do it. And so he goes back and he says, Radha, you're right. There was a girl there the first time. And then I tried to say it was, and I tried to cover it up. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And she twists the screws a little bit with him, but she does forgive him. But can you see that he was under her control? And there's one last story I'll tell about Lord Krishna being under her control. Again, this story takes place when they are separated from each other. And this time it's Radha, who's fallen into almost a comatose state. She's so much in separation from Krishna, who's far away. Initially, Krishna's brother and his sister go to see her. They think they love, it's Krishna's their brother. They love him a lot, and they think that they have the most amount of love for him. But when they go see her lying there, so incapacitated by love, they become stunned. Their eyes grow huge. Their arms and legs contract into their body, and they're frozen like statues. Eventually, Krishna goes, and he sees his siblings frozen like statues. And when he sees Radha, he too, his eyes grow big, his arms and legs contract in, and he's literally stunned by her love. This is a very, very special form of Lord Krishna that's called Lord Jagannath, that is in this place called Jagannath Puri. And once a year, they take this gigantic form of Krishna stunned by love, and his brother and sister stunned by the love of Radharani, out of the temple, and they parade it down the streets. And it is a grand festival called the Ratha Yatra. And it marks this moment of Krishna being stunned by Radharani's love. And so Krishna is such amazed, so amazed by the love of Radharani. He realizes he has a problem. He doesn't know what it is to love like that. He's Krishna. Everyone loves him. But he doesn't understand what it's like to love like she loves, to be that full embodiment of love, especially in separation from him. And so that is why Lord Krishna takes birth about 500 years ago in a place called West Bengal, India, as his avatar, Lord Chaitanya, who came. And so if you remember from the mantras I chanted at the beginning, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, that is him, that came to bring the chanting of that Maha Mantra, both in verse and in song, that came to bring out these beautiful texts that hold the stories of Krishna and Radha. Krishna came back to share that, but to come back as a person that is so much in love with the divine, the way Radha was in love with him. And that is the story of Lord Chaitanya. And so of all the qualities of Radha, she is always in control of Krishna. And why? Because of her love. If you go to Vrindavan, the place where Krishna lives, you'll see markings on trees, and the markings are her name. People don't greet each other saying, Krishna, Krishna. What do they say? Radhe, Radhe. Because it is the love that she emanates that people want to pull into their heart. And so, as they say, Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Thank you. Namaste.